this is my model, right? My model was something you'll never want to do. You want to know why? Hey guys, I'm here with Martin Sanchez. He came to this house that we just bought, subject to, because I put a post out on Instagram and I said, hey guys, we said, hey, come hang out with us at this property, and boom, Martin shows up.
I'm here.
So Martin, we shot a YouTube video. If you guys want to see the YouTube video fully breaking down this deal, in fact, here's a prop from the last video. Go and watch that video. We'll put a link in the description down below. How did I buy the deal? Where did the deal come from? What are we doing with the deal, etc. We finished the video and then Martin starts asking me questions and I'm like, bro, hold on. Let's do a YouTube video out of this because he has a great couple of questions. What's your first question?
So I haven't done my first Subto deal yet. What
have you done any deals?
I haven't, no.
No deals, okay.
Nope, just watching your videos and then just learning and getting used to all the terms and everything.
Okay. But
I do want to do my first deal.
Okay, so whenever somebody says, I haven't done my first deal, what do you recommend? I immediately know that you're missing a couple of things, okay? You're missing clarity on, number one, what strategy do you want? Do you want to buy and hold? Do you want to wholesale? Or do you want to fix and flip?
Buy and hold.
Okay, buy and hold. Cool. That makes everything way easier. Because if you're trying to wholesale, that actually, even though it's an easy business to get into, wholesaling is so ultra competitive because everybody is offering lowball offers on houses like this that there's no way you could have bought this as a wholesaler. But as a buy and holder, easy, right? And then also as a buy and holder, somebody that wants to buy and hold, guess what you get to do? All the wholesalers actually work for you. So first thing is determine your strategy, okay? Second thing is determine your market. You already know your market, Arizona, Pinal, or maybe Maricopa County. You already know that. Okay, so guys, write this down. If you don't know your strategy, pick one of those strategies: wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold. And Martin chose buy and hold. Okay, so on the buy and hold side, he just wants to put stuff in his portfolio and start getting passive income because you have a successful business already, right?
Yep.
So you have no goal of quitting that business. Why would you?
Right.
All right. First thing is strategy. His first strategy is he wants to buy and hold. Second thing is pick your market. You already chose Maricopa County and Pinal, which is where I buy as well. Third thing you need is an LLC and you need a bank account attached to that LLC so you can start buying properties in an LLC. Okay. Not your current business LLC, you need a separate, yes. So we use a company called Prime Corporate Services. Derek has used them, Derek's down the hall. That's the only person I use. So I call them up and I say, set up an LLC so I can start buying and holding real estate in Arizona, and they'll set all that stuff up for you, okay? Link in the description for that, guys. Startwithprime.com. Now the next part of it is, where am I gonna see the opportunities? Okay, and when somebody says I've not done a deal yet, and they already know their strategy, they know their market, they have a bank account and an LLC, then I already know you're not looking at enough opportunities. Okay. Derek, did you ever feel like you thought you were looking at enough opportunity that then you realized you really weren't?
Oh, I had not enough. I was begging for opportunities because I was not doing any lead
generation,
yeah. And so now working with other people is where I now see more of the opportunities.
So Derek's in my community. You're obviously not in my community because you wouldn't have a lead problem. Derek is in my community, and so what he does is he's a buy and holder too, primarily. Like you'll wholesale, you'll do some lending, but primarily you want to hold, right?
Yes.
Okay, so he wants the same strategy as you have.
Yep.
So the next strategy would be, first off, the fact that you're not in my community just means you're crazy because our community is insane. But what's cool is Derek can go to the community and go, hey guys, I'm a buyer, and then everybody will send him deals. And the more frequently he says, I'm a buyer, I'm a buyer, I'm a buyer, and he shows up to the Zooms and he shows up to the meetups, it takes 3 months, 4 months, sometimes 6 months, depending on how loud you are. But then at some point, you actually get somewhat overwhelmed with opportunities. Is that right?
Yeah, then it becomes
a different problem.
Can you underwrite them? And then understanding whether or not they're deals gets a little bit tricky.
Yeah, so when people are like, I've never done a deal before, all doing a deal is a graduation from the smaller problem to a larger problem. Smallest problem is, what's my strategy? You already figured that out. Okay, graduate. Market, okay, graduate. LLC, okay, graduate. Now, you already know your strategy, you know your market, you know you have a business. Now you need leads. You're busy with your business.
Yep.
So do you want to go out and hire cold callers? Probably not.
No.
Do you have to have cold callers, Derek, or do you just have to be in the community?
No, I just have to be in the community. I gotta be louder.
So whenever he wants more leads, he just goes on my Zooms we do like 32 Zooms a week. And he'll pop in a couple of Zooms and go, hey guys, I'm buying. Hey guys, I'm buying. And all of a sudden it's like just an avalanche of leads. So that's one way of doing it. But in that regard, you have to be a student in my community, and that's not what I want you to do. I don't want to pitch you on that. So let's say that being a student in my community is not an opportunity for you. You still have the same problem. You lack leads. You don't want to cold call. You don't want to work with agents. I think working with wholesalers, which is what I did here. Here, come out here. Let me show you guys this video real quick. If you check this out, I put this in my YouTube video, but this is how this deal got done, okay? So here's the seller. There's their house, the house that you're standing in right now, and here's the agent, okay? The agent put the house on the market it was on the market for 100 days. The seller had to go take another job offer somewhere else, and they couldn't sell the house because it doesn't have any equity, okay? So a wholesaler reached out to the agent because they saw that the house was on the market for over 100 days, okay? And they gave that agent a low ball cash offer. Do you think they could take a low ball cash offer on this house? There's no equity. So you can't. The answer is no, you can't. If there's no equity in the house, you can't do a cash offer. You have to do creative finance. You have to. This is why creative finance is 1,000 times easier than cash. Okay, I just take over somebody's payments like taking candy from a baby. It's so easy. So the wholesaler didn't know what he was doing. So where did the wholesaler go? Wholesaler's like, I am just learning on YouTube like a dumbass. Sorry guys, but if you're only learning on YouTube, it's not really for education, it's really more for entertainment. So the wholesaler then finds somebody in my community, Munif, and Munif says, hey, I'll pay you $2,000 to get out of my way. That's what he did. So the wholesaler gets out of the way, Munif calls the agent direct and says, hey, so Munif knows he has me as a buyer, right? So you see what I did. You see how many people are involved here? Yep. So do you want to be the wholesaler that's going out there and finding the deals, or do you want to be the person that's the buyer that people just bring the deals to?
The buyer.
Okay, so you got to find Munifs, you got to find Derek's, you got to find people in my community, and they already are locking up deals. You don't, bro, to do your first deal, you and I could do your first deal in 15 minutes right now. Like all I have to do is pull out my phone, and I go in my free Facebook group, and I scroll through my Facebook group, and I find, shout out, free Facebook group, Creative Finance with Pace Morby, link, bar, all the things. We could scroll through that Facebook group right now, and within 15 minutes, you could have a deal under contract from another wholesaler or one of my students, and the paperwork is already done, the negotiations with the seller are already done, and now you got a deal. What's another question you got?
So on your first deal, like you said on this house, you don't really cash flow that much.
I don't cash flow at all. This is a break even.
So if it's a first deal, would you be fine breaking even, or would you want to cash flow on your first?
Okay, so everything is a mindset, right? So I now have a different mindset than I had when I first started. When you start, your mindset primarily is fear of the unknown. I don't know what I don't know, right? And so what you end up doing is you just second guess everything. If you could go back, if I could take my knowledge and go back to when I've never done a deal before and I knew what to do with a non-cash flowing deal, the answer is yes. I absolutely would have done this deal because I know what to do with a non-cash flowing deal. You have two options, basically. Well, you have three options. Option one is you don't do the deal and you assign it to somebody like me. If Munif assigned this to somebody else and that somebody else is like, oh, it doesn't cash flow, I still would have bought this deal and paid somebody an extra $5,000. Okay. So you could even squeeze yourself in here somewhere in these relationships. That's option one. Option two is you buy the deal and instead of it being a rental, you try and find a different strategy to rent it out. Okay. Like what? What would be a better strategy?
Wrap?
Yeah, wrap would be really good here actually, but I don't do wraps in Arizona because wraps are not a long-term forever strategy. Okay, wraps mean you don't own the property anymore. So all those benefits of me getting tax benefits, the loan pay down, the appreciation, all of that goes to my wrap buyer and I no longer get those benefits. Okay. So the only benefit to a wrap is I get cash flow. That's it. It's the only benefit. Okay. So yeah, alternative strategy. For you, go wrap it. That's what I used to do in Arizona. Now I only do that in Texas. The other strategy is, the third thing that I would do is just sit on the property for a long time and raise the rents over time. That's it, and that's the strategy I choose to use on this particular house. If this was a non-cash flowing deal in Texas, I would wrap it. Okay. But here in Arizona, I want to, in this house in 50 years, I want this to be, my kids are making money on this house.
Okay.
So if I buy a house in Arizona, I have zero intention of ever selling it. The intention I have is it pays all the way down. I might refinance it and pull a bunch of tax-free money out at some point, but I will always keep this property in my portfolio.
Okay. Interest rate, I think you said you try and stay under 5%, or what kind of interest rate?
Under 5%.
Under 5%.
If somebody sends me a 5.125, I go, nope, not even gonna look at it.
Okay.
Because if I just look at my email right now, okay? You look at my email, you will see today somebody, because I put a lot of work in, obviously, I deserve this, right? Check it out. I got another deal in Allen, Texas, 4.375. That literally came in at what time is it? Not even an hour ago, right? Okay, so let's go. I bought another deal this morning in San Angelo. 950 this morning, 3.75% Subto.
And that's from one of your students?
This is my model, right? My model was something you'll never want to do. You want to know why? Because nobody's willing to put in the work that I put in. It took me 10 years for anybody to pay attention to me. Once I got people to pay attention to me, it took me 4 years of relentless servitude, serving and loving on my community, and getting my community to be the industry leaders when it comes to closing and creative finance deals so that I could buy 60% of my deals from my community. Okay. So 40% of my deals come from myself, okay? 60% of my deals now come from my students. Okay, and some people go, oh, that's a cheat code. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is a cheat code, but it's a cheat code that took me 4 years to complete and 10 years before that before anybody would even listen to me. So it took me 14 years. I don't think anybody really wants to go that route. It's not the easy route, it's the hard route. But I knew, and I had a vision, and I said, if I created industry leaders, like Derek Barton will be an industry leader at one point, okay? Munif is an industry leader. Munif is about a year ahead of Derek. And you see these guys leading the industry, and now because I taught him, he didn't know anything about real estate, never done a real estate deal until he joined my community. Now he's doing a deal a day. Okay. So now I go, hey, can I buy 4 or 5 of those a month from you? And he's like, please, I would love to. So for me, 60% comes from my students, 40% comes from my own efforts.
I guess another question. So let's say it's your first deal. Yeah. How much down would you put down on your first deal?
Less than 9%.
Less than 9% of the whole deal?
The whole deal.
Okay.
That's cash to the seller, cash to the wholesaler, cash to the agent, cash to closing costs, cash to furniture, renovations, everything. Okay. My property cost me $350,000. Okay. I put $20,000 in it so far to give Munif 13, the wholesaler 2, the agent 5, the seller got 0. Okay, so it's 20 grand. But I got closing costs, 1 month of payments, and a little bit of renovation. Okay. So I'll be all into this property, maybe 25 to 27 grand. Okay. That's like 8% total. Okay. Okay, when I first started, where does that money come from? Didn't come from me.
Private money?
Private money, or I could go to a Derek Barton, and Derek Barton, I go, hey, do you have some money you want to partner with me on this deal? You would have partnered with me on this deal.
100%. I've been trying to partner with you.
Yeah, Derek and I will partner on stuff in the future. So I go, I got the deal. Do you want to bring the 25 grand to the table and we'll go 50-50? And Derek would be like, yeah, because he gets half the appreciation, half the cash flow, half the tax benefits. Okay. He gets half the loan pay down, half the leverage. He gets half of everything, and I didn't have to bring any money to the table. I brought the deal. Okay. But that's not me anymore. I'm not a beginner. When you're new, if you knew my Subto community, you could go to people like Derek and go, hey, Derek, if I go find a deal, will you bring the money to the table? And money should never be your problem. Okay. Like literally, I will commit to deals when I have negative $400 in my bank account. And I was, oh yeah, I'll buy that deal for 50 grand. Oh, I'll buy that deal for 60. Oh, I'll buy that deal for $1,500 or whatever it is. I will commit to deals because I know the money is never the problem. The money always comes. That's very, very easy. The thing you have to do is you need to see more opportunities, okay? I would say you need to look at 30 to 50 opportunities to buy one really good deal and probably 2 or 3 other decent deals, okay? I say yes to 80% of the deals my people send me, but why?
They're good deals, they're your students?
A lot of good deals, but I also train them on what I specifically want. Okay. And so most of what they're looking for, they already know the numbers. Right. I did the hard work, I did the training, I did all that kind of stuff. And so like even right now, you know what I used to do? And you know how I started a community? 5 years ago, I used to tell people, hey, here's my Instagram, come meet me at this property, and we get 40, 50 people that show up here. You're the only one that showed up besides Derek.
Yeah.
I used to do this with 40, 50 people, and I would teach and teach and teach and teach and teach for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And then they'd go out, and 35 of them wouldn't do anything, but 5 of them would. And I would buy deals with those 5 people.
Right.
And that's my strategy. Help people do deals and ultimately buy those deals from those people.
Okay.
That's not really a strategy that's going to work for you yet, but that's what worked for me.
Okay.
So when I first started, I had cold callers. We still do. Cold callers, text messaging. We built a door knocking team for 1.5 years, but then COVID hit, and so we stopped doing door knocking. Real estate agent outreach, if you want to go that route, or you just go to like my Subto meetups, and you meet my Subto students. You go, I'm a buyer, because you own a business. You do trailer, you sell equipment.
Yep, construction equipment.
Okay, so you make money.
Yep.
So if somebody came to you with a deal like this, you would have the money you could pull together to buy this.
Yes.
So just do what I do, which is go to my students and go, sell me a deal.
Okay.
That's it. You could own this for 20 grand with no credit check, no application, nobody checks your tax history, none of that stuff. You could own this property for 8% of the total purchase price. Pretty cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And what's funny is I have 3 more I have to go to today, and I've never been to any of them. I wasn't involved in any of it. I shouldn't say that. I was involved for 14 years, and now I'm at a point where I get to reap the benefits of all the seeds I planted.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So what are you going to do to get a deal?
My next question, like you said, like partner up with someone. So
Yeah.
let's say you're buying this one with a partner.
Yeah.
How does that work exactly? Like, how would you partner with someone to buy this deal?
If I trust them, like I trust Derek, 50-50.
50-50.
I go, hey, let's go 50-50. If I don't trust them to operate it, I would say, hey, you bring the money, and I am fully responsible for running everything because I know what I'm doing. It depends on the person that's coming to the table, right? So when you ask the question of like, how do you structure a partnership? Well, you didn't tell me who the partners were. Every partnership's going to be a little bit different. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
If you came and brought a deal to me, I personally would not partner with you. I would buy the deal from you, but I don't want you involved.
Right.
Why?
I'm not your student. I don't.
That is, you pay attention. I told everybody in January, I will not partner with a non-student ever again.
Yeah.
But let's say, forget about that. Let's just say in general, before I wasn't doing deals with non-students, why would I not partner with you? What do you bring to the table after the deal?
Yeah.
You don't know you don't have contractors. You don't know how to manage issues and tenants, and you don't know how to, like I have a whole team, as you can see, like you came to the house and I had a whole team of people with me.
Yep.
Those girls run my office. So long term, there's not much you bring to the table to me besides the deal. So what I would rather do, if you brought a deal to me, is I'd rather just pay you for the deal and go, hey, you don't bring any value to me long term. What I'm now doing with my students all over the country is I go, I'm funding, we have this new program called the Deal or No Deal. My students bring a deal to the table and I will fund all the money and take 50% of the deal, but they have to manage boots on the ground.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I don't want to do deals in California. Well, I just changed that. We bought 3 deals in California last week. But I'm not managing them. My students are required to. If my students can't manage the rental, then I take the property back over.
Okay.
So, it just kind of depends on how people show up. You know this. I mean, you have employees, I imagine, right?
Yep.
And some are just better than others. And some partners are better than others. And so depending on how they show up, you have to react and all that.
Okay.
But I would go to I have a YouTube video about how to partner with people properly, and there's like paperwork underneath it. I would read that paperwork. But like if you went to Derek, for example, I would go to Derek and go, hey, how would you want to partner? Because he would be the senior in this situation, you would be the junior, right? So he would be the one that determines the structure of the partnership.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep. And is it usually 50-50 or could it be like 70-30?
It could be 70-30, yeah. I have a lot of 70-30 deals, 80-20 deals, a lot of that.
Okay. And does that depend on how much money they bring or experience or what?
Depends on if they are going to manage the property, if they brought the deal to the table, if they have money that they brought to the table, if they're going to manage the construction. It depends on all of the things, right? But if somebody only like Munif in this, I'm partners with Munif in a 5-plex in Dallas. I'm partners with him in a 22-plex in Florida. But most of the time, he just assigns deals to me because I go, you don't bring value to this particular transaction because you don't live here and I do.
Right.
But in Dallas and the one in Florida, he does bring value there. He has a team that's managing those. So I go, cool, you bring value long term, so you should get equity long term as well.
Okay.
and so it just shows you, like Munif and I don't even have a standard structure. We depends on the deal, where it's located, who brings what to the table, and then we go, how do you want to do this? You want to do 50-50? Cool, let's do that. Every deal is determined by the deal, the location, and the people that are involved in the deal.
Okay.
And so really what you have to do is get your hands on deals and go screw up 100 times.
Yeah.
I think, like, even if you ask Derek, when you're brand new, you're afraid of making a ton of mistakes, as you should be to a certain degree, but you don't learn anything unless you're making mistakes. We all know that. It's like, you imagine trying to learn, he used to play professional baseball. You imagine somebody trying to teach him how to hit a home run, but he never had to hold a bat.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, you're asking how to hit a home run, and I go, all right, so you got to go out there and swing a bat and practice and practice and practice, but then you don't go out and get the bat.
Right.
And then 3 months later, you're asking, man, I don't have my first home run yet. How do I get a home run? You're like, have you been hitting? No. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, though. So that's a reminder to you YouTube people, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Anything else, Martin?
So nothing over, you said 10% for...
I will, if it's a deal in my backyard and has a really low interest rate, I will bring more than 10% to the table.
Okay, and so what's the reason behind the 10%?
Just mathematically, imagine this. Imagine that you're going to a river and you only have so much bait to catch as many fish as possible. You don't want to just put all the worms on one hook and throw it out there. And so I just came up with an equation based on a lot of experience. I go, oh man, I'm kind of finding that my deals are the best when I stay under 9%.
Okay.
And that's where that came from.
Okay.
It just was a lot of math and a lot of experience, and then reverse engineering the math and going, oh, okay, my best deals are where I put less than 9% of my worms on the hook. Right? Because I just put a lot of worms on the hook to get this deal. I don't want to go put 100 grand on this deal, because that means I could, with the same amount of money I paid for this deal, I could have gotten 3. Right? And so you just figure that math out. So I stay, personally, I stay at 9% or lower.
Okay. Makes sense.
Anything else?
I think you covered it.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Later, guys.